Every trick on this list costs under $1, and most cost 30 seconds of knowing better. My grandkids send me kitchen hack videos, and half of them would get a person laughed off a lunch line. Here is the thing about a school cafeteria. 400 kids a day, a government budget, no room for tricks that do not work. What survives that kitchen is proven. I am Mrs. Doris, 35 years behind a school lunch line in Scioto County, Ohio, and tonight I am handing over 17 of them. Number 13 is the last grilled cheese trick you will ever need. Number 8 is a square of foil that outworks your lid. And the last 3, including the real secret of soft cafeteria rolls, are the ones people write me about. Hit subscribe, grab a tray. We are counting down from 17. Number 17, salt it half an hour before it hits the pan. Salt it early. Salt your chops, chicken, or fish on both sides, set them on a plate, and put them back in the icebox for 30 minutes while you set the table. The salt works its way inside, so the meat is seasoned through instead of wearing its seasoning like a coat. And the surface dries out a little, which is exactly what you want. Dry surface, brown crust. Wet meat steams, dry meat sears. Salting at the pan leaves it sitting on top like sand on ice. On the line, Chicken Day got its salt at 9 in the morning and its skillet at 11. 30 minutes, $0, and the same chop tastes like it came from a better store. Number 16 has been hiding in your soup pot all along. Number 16, drop a ham bone in anything that simmers. Beans, soup, greens, gravy. If it simmers, it wants a bone. When the commodity truck brought ham, that bone never saw a trash can. It went straight into Wednesday's soup beans. You know that pot. And those beans tasted like somebody's grandmother had stood over them all day. No ham bone? A Parmesan rind does the same quiet work in tomato soup or spaghetti sauce. Drop it in, fish it out before serving. The ham one day, the bean pot the next morning, that corner of the menu board wrote itself for 35 years. Nobody can name what is different. They just hold out their bowl again. We did not waste a thing, and the pot was better for it. By the way, that trick, one ham bone working a double shift, I have a whole book of those. 35 years of stretchers that fed 400 kids on $1 a tray, written down in one place. The lunch lady's $3,600 a year grocery cut. It is at dorasllunchlady.com. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the link below the video to get your copy. That is the only time I will bring it up. All right, back to the line. Number 15, the glaze goes on at the end, never at the start. Sugar burns before meat finishes. That is the whole lesson. Put brown sugar and mustard on a ham at the start, and you will scrape bitter char off the pan at the end. I glazed 100 hams a year, and the glaze never went on until the last 15 minutes. Sugar hits hot meat, melts, and sets into that shiny lacquer people photograph. Same rule for honey on chicken, ketchup on meatloaf, brown sugar on carrots. Cook the meat first. Paint it late. Serve it shining. Same law for the bottle. Store-bought barbecue sauce is half sugar. Brush it on late or eat charcoal with a label. Number 14 fixes fish for the people who say they do not like fish. Number 14. Soak fish in milk for 20 minutes. Before you cook any fish that smells like fish, lay it in a dish of plain milk for 20 minutes in the icebox. The milk grabs onto that fishy smell and pulls it right out. Pour it off, pat the fillet dry, cook like always. What is left tastes clean and sweet, and the people at your table who swear they hate fish will ask what kind this is. It works on liver too, takes the bitter edge right off if you grew up dreading liver night. Fish Friday in our kitchen started with milk pans in the walk-in at 7 in the morning. That is why nobody's nose ever announced the menu. 20 minutes, a nickel of milk, no more wrinkled noses. Number 13 is the one I promised at the top. Number 13. Mayonnaise on the outside of your grilled cheese. I know, hear me out. Butter burns and browns in patches. Mayonnaise browns even, edge to edge, every time, because the Hellmann's jar is oil and egg already whipped together, and it does not scorch. We made grilled cheese by the sheet pan, 40 at a time, and mayonnaise is how every single one came out golden like a catalog picture. Thin coat on the outside of the bread, medium heat, done. And listen for it, the crunch is louder because the crust is one even sheet instead of patches. It works on fish and chicken before the pan, too. The crust comes out deep gold, and the mayonnaise taste cooks clean away. Honest is better than fancy, but this one is honest and fancy. Number 12 is the first thing they teach you at a cutting board. Number 12. Cut everything the same size. The fanciest knife in the world cannot save a pot where half the carrots are dimes and half are checkers. The small ones dissolve while the big ones stay raw. 1 pot, 2 failures. Prep 40 pounds of carrots for a stew line, and you learn this by Tuesday. Same size, cooks the same speed. My first week, September of 1979, Ruby set a nickel on my cutting board and said, "Match the nickel, honey." I matched the nickel for 35 years. Decide the size before you start cutting and hold to it. It costs nothing, and it fixes half of what people call recipe problems. Number 11 is the laziest trick in this whole countdown. Number 11. Make the chili the day before, on purpose. Chili day at Riverbend was cooked the day before, every time on purpose. Overnight in the icebox, the flavors marry. The chili powder softens into the tomato, the beef gives back what it took, and the whole pot agrees with itself by morning. Bonus. The fat rises and sets into a cap you can lift off with a spoon, which is the easiest skimming you will ever do. One rule the health inspector and I agreed on. Split a big pot into shallow pans first. A deep pot stays warm in the middle till midnight, and that is how you lose a pot. Works for soup, stew, spaghetti sauce, beans. You do not work harder, you just work yesterday. At home, that means the Saturday pot is really Sunday supper, resting overnight while you sleep. Tonight's cook is tomorrow's supper, and tomorrow it is better. People ask where I got these. Here is the truth of it. A school kitchen is about the most inspected, most budgeted, least forgiving kitchen in America. Every trick that survived in ours earned its place in front of 400 judges a day, 5 days a week, on a budget that would make a restaurant cry. Nothing stayed on that line because it was cute. It stayed because it worked on the 3rd try and the 300th. That is the difference between a hack and a habit. Stay with me. The foil trick is 3 away, and the final 3 are the ones I would keep if you made me give back the rest. Number 10. A splash of vinegar in the rice pot. Now listen here. A teaspoon of plain white vinegar in the cooking water or a squeeze of lemon, and your rice comes out separate and glossy instead of gummed into a brick. You cannot taste it. It cooks away and leaves only its manners. On the line, this was survival. 40 pounds of rice sitting on a steam table through 4 lunch periods, and the vinegar pot held while the plain pot glued itself shut. If your rice comes out like wallpaper paste, this is half the cure. The cheap half, a penny a pot. Number 9 lives in a dented brown bottle. Number 9. A shot of Worcestershire in anything brown. Gravy, chili, meatloaf, stew, burgers, anything brown gets a shot from the brown bottle. Worcestershire is anchovies, vinegar, and molasses aged together, and what it adds you cannot point to. The pot just tastes like it has been at it since noon. Every school kitchen I ever saw kept a dented bottle of it by the stove, and the dents tell you how often it got grabbed. Ours had been dented since the Carter administration. If the bottle in your cupboard is clean and full, that is the problem right there. 1 shot per pot. Nobody will say, "I taste Worcestershire." They will say, "What did you do different?" And you will not tell them. Number 8, the foil I promised. Number 8, the foil lid that sits on the food, not over the pot, on the food. Tear a piece of foil, fold it to a circle a little smaller than your pot, and lay it right down on top of whatever is simmering. Now the top layer stays wet and seasoned instead of drying out in the air. The liquid bastes everything from all sides, and the sauce still reduces around the edges. We did the same on steam table pans, so the last tray of the day looked like the first. By June, the new girls were folding those circles without being told. A real trick survives being taught. 1 square of foil, 30 seconds, and the top of the pot stops going dry. The lid your pot came with never did that. Number 7 is the mistake that ruins mac and cheese. Number 7, the cheese goes in off the heat. You have heard me say this over the macaroni pot, off the heat before the cheese. Tonight, the why and the 2 cousins nobody tells you. The why, cheese does not want to cook, it wants to melt. Boil it and it breaks, grainy and greasy, no coming back. So, sauce hot, burner off, cheese in, stirred till it is smooth as paint, and that pot never sees a boil again. Cousin 1, milk soups, same law. Cousin 2, sour cream. A spoonful of the hot liquid into the sour cream first, then the cup into the pot, and it will not curdle on you. Number 6 is about murder, the quiet kind heat commits. Number 6, butter and vanilla go in at the end, off the heat. Heat murders delicate flavors, so add them where the heat cannot reach. First, a cold pat of butter swirled into the gravy after the burner is off. It melts in slow and the whole pot goes glossy, like the drippings doubled. Second, vanilla goes into pudding and custard after the cooking, never during. On my line, the vanilla went into the butterscotch pudding with the kettle already off, Ruby's rule. And by the time the trays went out, the hallway smelled like a bakery. Boil it and that smell is exactly what you lose, perfume down the drain. The gravy shines, the pudding tastes like the bottle smells, and nobody at your table will know why. That is the everyday dozen done. The last 5 are the ones I would pack in a suitcase, and number 5 turns the cheapest chicken in the store into the juiciest. Number 5, give cheap chicken a quick brine. Different trick from number 17. That one was dry, this one is wet, and it is for lean, cheap chicken that dries out if you look at it wrong. A quart of cold water, a 1/4 cup of coarse salt, half that if your salt is the fine kind, and a spoonful of sugar. Stir, sink the chicken in it, 30 to 60 minutes in the icebox, pat dry, cook. The salt walks in with water behind it, and that water stays through the cooking. That is how commodity chicken came off our line juicy for 400 kids who did not know the word brine. They just knew our chicken day did not need the milk carton to wash it down. Chicken quarters still run under $2 a pound this week, and 30 minutes of salt water is what makes them worth carrying home. Number 4 is 1 jar that seasons half your week. Number 4, keep a jar of house sauce in the icebox. Ketchup, vinegar, brown sugar, Worcestershire, mustard. That was it. That was the whole shopping list. Simmer it 10 minutes until it thickens, pour it in a jar, and keep it cold. Now watch what 1 jar does. Meatloaf glaze, sloppy Joe starter, baked bean booster, Dipping sauce for anything breaded. Brush for chicken. One pot fed 5 different menu days on our line. At home, it keeps 2, 3 weeks, if it lasts. 10 minutes on a Sunday, and half your suppers this week are already seasoned. Number 3, the one people beg me for, the rolls. Number 3, potato flakes in the roll dough. You remember those cafeteria rolls, soft as a pillow Tuesday, still soft Thursday, and you have tried to make rolls like that and gotten hockey pucks by morning. Here is the secret, and it came out of a government commodity box. Potato. A half cup of instant potato flakes, the same flakes that came in on the truck all through the 80s, or a scoop of leftover mashed potatoes, kneaded into any roll dough. Potato starch holds water the way flour never learned to, so the crumb stays moist for days instead of hours. That is the whole mystery of lunchroom rolls, and it costs about a dime a batch. I baked a pan at home once, and my Jean ate 4 of them standing up before supper, like a man who had never been fed. 2 left. Number 2 comes out of a little can you have walked past 1,000 times. Number 2, brown the tomato paste before the liquid goes in. Tomato paste straight from the can tastes like the tin, not the tomato. But spoon it into the hot fat with your onions and let it fry 2 minutes. It darkens from fire engine red to brick, and the sugars toast into something deep and almost meaty. Then add your liquid and stir it from the bottom. Trouble lives on the bottom, in chili more than anywhere. Those 2 minutes taste like a whole extra hour of simmering. We went through number 10 cans of paste taller than a lunch tray, and not 1 spoonful went in unbrowned. 2 minutes, 0 new ingredients, all day flavor. Now, number 1, the trick I would keep if you took all the rest away. Number 1, the ice bath. First, a confession. 1985, I boiled the cheese sauce for 400 trays. The whole kettle went grainy, and we served it anyway with extra macaroni to hide the shame. I learned number 7 the hard way, and I learned number 1 watching Ruby save my green beans the same year. Here it is. Ice water standing ready in a bowl before anything green touches the pot. Boil your green beans or broccoli just till they turn bright. Lift them straight into the ice, and the cooking stops that second. Green stays green, snap stays snap for hours. Skip it, and the heat keeps cooking them gray in the colander. That is how the last tray of beans at 1 o'clock looked as good as the first at 11. 10 seconds of ice. It is not a restaurant secret. It is a lunch line law. Homework, and I grade easy. 1 trick tonight, just 1. Start with the mayonnaise. 2 grilled cheese Saturday, 40 cents apiece. My grandkids heard the crunch from the hallway. Which of these did your school cafeteria know, and what county? I read every one with my coffee. The winner gets the next video. Next week, the one I promised you, the skillet drawer. 1 pan, no oven, supper for 6. Subscribe so you do not miss it. 400 kids a day, and not one of them went hungry. Neither will you.